and civil
This is a demonstration
registration
of
of the people.
Wirecast. This is a demonstration of 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 Wirecast.
The last 2 days of deliberations have been thought-provoking. A big thank you on behalf of all of us.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast. 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 Demonstration of Wirecast. This is a 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 demonstration of Wirecast.
I certainly believe that there is a lot of chaos and a lot more to come in the industry right now. Currently seeing what is happening in terms of currencies, commodity markets, new business models, what's happening to different economies, constant devaluations, China drops percentage points, it sends the commodities into a slump. New business models have come in, Uber is defying regular cab hires. There's A&B who doesn't own a single room, but is one of the largest consolidator for hotel rooms. So the world is changing very, very rapidly. And within this, obviously, therefore, the question comes, how do leaders manage? Along with that, we do have role models like you had Mahatma Gandhi is oft quoted. Probably his real success was he was steadfast in his approach to non-violence. Yet the same person with that used every opportunity to adapt, whether it was the Salt March or whether it was the weaving of Khadi, to reinforce the fact that steadiness was where he was coming from. Today, on the other hand, you have entrepreneurs who are getting out of business schools, not out of business schools, starting businesses immediately. And the challenge over there really is, how fast do I grab an opportunity? How do I take it and how do I run? Interestingly, again, in the opening session yesterday, Guruji mentioned, I don't know what it's the right thing to be saying. He said, when you're a senior citizen, you're looking for steadiness. And it is the youth who's looking for passion and engagement, because that brings enthusiasm. Now, whether steady and agile and adaptive work together, or are they opposites, like Guruji keeps saying all the time, that opposite values are complementary, how do they closely work together, is something probably would love to hear from the panelists over here. What is also happening is at the leadership level today, with so much of pressure and demand, the role of a leader itself is becoming, at one moment, the leader has to steady the ship under the pressures we're all operating under. Simultaneously, the same leader who's trying to steady the ship has to constantly look for new opportunities to take the businesses forward. And therefore, how do leaders manage this multi-dimensionally between these two? Does each one rest in the other? Are they separate? Are they situational? Is something I would keen to hear from all the panelists we have on board. We have entrepreneurs, we have industrialists, we have people from the spiritual life, we have executive coaches, we have ex-politicians, we have persons from the media, TV presenters. So it's quite a varied group that we're operating, and we have a serial entrepreneur. Okay, so any and every which direction you can hear how being steady and how they marry the agility and adaptability will get picked up. So I'm going to introduce the panel to you.
This is a demonstration.
The first person is to my right, Jan Krimer. He's the mayor of city of Maaseik in Belgium. Honorable Jan Krimer also serves as the president of the Meander Institute for the Disabled People, the honorary president of Rest Home Het Park, president of the Police Council and the Police College Maasland, and the president of the DV Marek, Recreation Centers for Maasland. Then,
this is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Please do clap, don't hold yourself back. These are amazing people over here. To my left, I have Mr. Rabin Baldev Singh, Deputy Mayor of The Hague, Netherlands. Welcome on board. Since 2016, Mr. Baldev Singh, I can wait for that. Mr. Baldev Singh has served as the Deputy Mayor of the city of The Hague, the Netherlands. He is The Hague's Alderman for Social Affairs, Employment, Neighborhood Approach, Integration Policies, and Sports. In the last decade, he has been one of the leading figures on the debate on integration and diversity in The Hague, and is a published writer and poet. What is not mentioned in this is he's also cut a disc with Jalota. Yes? Okay, so he's now doing one on the poetry of Rabindranath Tagore.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Is Ted Bellew, former Premier of Victoria and the chairperson for the Anzac Centenary Committee. Honorable Ted Bellew served as the Premier of Victoria and the Minister for the Arts between 1999 and 2014, supporting tertiary education, training, gaming, planning, and the arts. He currently serves as the chair of the Victorian Government's Anzac Centenary Committee and Melbourne University's Honorary Enterprise Professor. With 20 years as a practicing architect, Mr. Bellew's community interests include serving as the trustee of Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Trust, and as a board member of Tourism Victoria, the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and Australian Children's Television Foundation, and as the patron of the Multicultural Arts Victoria. To his right is Mr. Tariq Fateh. He's a writer and broadcaster in Canada. Tariq Fateh is a weekly columnist for the Toronto Sun in Canada and an award-winning author of 2 books, The Tragic Illusion of an Islamic State and The Jew is Not My Enemy, and is currently writing his 3rd book, The Hindu is Not My Enemy. I don't think any third religion has been left. He describes himself as an Indian born in Pakistan and was educated in Pakistan, beginning his career in journalism, first as a newspaper reporter and later with the Pakistan television. He now resides in Canada. To the left here is Gary Gauba. He's the president of Century Link. There we are.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We all make mistakes and we rectify them rapidly. So Honorary Gary Gauba is a natural entrepreneur. I've heard statements about him saying he's a serial entrepreneur. And over the past 2 decades, he bootstrapped, self-funded, and successfully exited 3 companies, Softline, Systech, and Cognilytics. He's on the board of Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research, WiseKey, and advisory board of DocuSign, and other emerging companies. With the acquisition of his 3rd venture, Cognilytics, by CenturyLink, his current focus is around cybersecurity, deep learning algorithms, and I don't know what that means, IoT, and helping clients monetize their data as a strategic asset. Them all up.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Yep. And that's the lady to the extreme left, Bridget Van Baren, founder of the Inner Sense. Ms. Bridget Van Baren founded Inner Sense, which offers a personal development program for business leaders in the public and private sectors. She is the inventor of the widely acclaimed show Your True Colors, management improvement methodology, and provides coaching and training for the international business leaders, managers, and teams. She's also an author and a Zen teacher of the Sanbo Zen Society. And a very interesting, we were catching up yesterday, and she said, my name is Bridge It. I'm a bridge, and I do it. That's what you said? And the last?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Captain R.S. Sindhu, Chairman and Managing Director of the Aryan Group. Captain Rudra Sen Sindhu is the Chairman and Managing Director of the Aryan Group, and has business interests in number of companies engaged mainly in mining and logistics, coal beneficiation, power generation, sponge iron and steel, stockbroking, media, finance, and tourism. There's nothing you left out. You got competition coming up.
This is a demonstration
He's
of
also
Wirecast.
engaged in several charitable activities and has been actively involved in social activities such as the rehabilitation of Gujarat earthquake victims and building rural schools. So that, my friends, is the panel we have. So what I'm now going to request is give each panelist between 4 and 5 minutes to talk about the subject from where they experience it. We'll go through everybody and then probably have a moderated session and open it up for Q&A. I know we are running well behind schedule. I have already been told we have to knock off at least 30 minutes from the planned sessions. So let's see how it goes. For the start, Jan. So at 4 minutes, there'll be a little bit of a bell. And at 5 minutes, there'll be a longer bell, Jan.
Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to express how honored I am to be standing here in front of you all. It's very humbling for me, as a mayor of a Belgian town, to be able to share my experience in leadership, which I have gained throughout my 15 years as a mayor. Our world faces tremendous challenges, despite the fact that this world might not seem bigger than a small village as a result of digitalization and social media. We will only succeed to form a successful cohesion between people when small communities are led in an efficient, democratic, and social way. These goals can only be met when leaders possess a passionate vision and strategy competences to go along with it. One can only succeed when he possesses those ambitions. When setting goals, one must be ambitious, one must simply want to be the best. In Dutch, we have a saying which loosely translates into whomever is lying on the ground will never fall nor break any ground. Leadership can only take a certain shape or form when the leader is able to fall back on a team whom can trust in order to realize his visions. In today's economy and political environment, leadership development has become a priority when dealing with insecurities and world problems. We are becoming more and more aware of the fact that leadership is more than just a mix of knowledge, attitudes, and the right set of skills. It's a personality. It is who you are. It goes over identity. But why are we doing this? People do things for all sorts of reasons. Because others force them to do so, to promote something, because they deem it useful, or just because they like it. We can distinguish two types of motivation in this: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Research shows that not only the quantity, but also the quality and even the kind of motivation plays a key role. Starting from this, several researchers have argued that a more integrated approach to leadership development, in which motivation, identity, maturity, personality, and perception of value must be focused on more than ever before. On that account, the formation of future leaders is of the utmost importance in our quest of durable and inspirational undertaking on local, national, and international levels. Shared leadership can only be accepted when an individual is willing to be authentic and to make themselves vulnerable, even more so in a smaller community. Our generation as a whole is being confronted with one of the biggest cross-border challenges ever. This means we have to reply in a similar manner. For instance, let us think of our energy problems, the economics and financial crisis, as well as the rapid development of a new technology which accelerates the globalization and influences our thoughts and actions on a daily basis. That is why I have always invested myself in local initiatives which
This
offer the
is a
opportunity to
demonstration
bring
of
people in
Wirecast.
contact with each other. This creates friendship, stimulates mutual respect and understanding, and ultimately helps create a better society in which universal values are respected and cared for. Conferences force us to discuss problems such as climate change, hunger and refugee problems, world peace, and many more, which is great, but the world is in dire need of a shock effect and cold, hard
This is a
actions,
demonstration of
because we do not
Wirecast.
need our leaders just only to think, they have to be doers. Effective leaders are not only intelligent on an intellectual level, they are in the first place socially and emotionally intelligent. For me, some personal aspects play a key role in this. Good leaders have to be aware of their strength and weakness, have to be able to cope with their emotions, have to preserve, keep self-motivating, have to be empathic, have to be communicative and open for communication. In order to sustaining these aspects, a certain kind of integrity is needed. This integrity maintains shared values which give the people in our organization a sense of belonging, keeps them by our side even through the toughest times. From my own experience, I have summarized the most important tips to realize the sense of belonging.
This is a demonstration
Create
of
opportunities to
Wirecast.
change. Make the things you want to see change concrete. Priorities have to set by all, not just by one. Communicate and appoint responsibilities. See and do what is beneficial for your team. I am confident to say that these suggestions will work. That is why I do not want to be a silent witness in my own city. Together with my management team, I want to build toward actual shared leadership in a global society in which universal norms and values are respectably lived by. In conclusion, I've learned that failures are part of life. I don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't learn, you'll never change. I've learned that the easiest way for me to grow as a person is to surround myself with people smarter than I am. I've learned that the less time I have to work with, the more things I get done.
Wirecast.
I've learned that opportunities are never lost. Someone will take the ones you miss. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Jan. We'll come back after you heard other people around. Robin, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar. Great to be here today, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about cities and leadership. You know, as far as cities are concerned, I think that in the near future, even now, but also in the near future, the power of cities are going to grow, especially in Europe. I'm a representative of The Hague in the Netherlands, the international city of peace and justice, or as the former boss of the United Nations called us, the legal capital of the world. You know, I have been living for 40 years now in the Netherlands, born in Suriname, South America, of a grandfather who came from Bihar, left by ship from Kolkata, and spent his days on the sugarcane plantations in Suriname. And in 1975, I indeed left Suriname to stay in the Netherlands. And now I'm in charge of indeed a city which is really developing itself. It has become, in 35 years, a very multicultural city. The Hague, it's a small city, 500,000 population, but still 52% now is of migrant origin. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to show leadership to build a society, because if you don't do that, then there is mistrust. And I think that is exactly what is happening in Europe right now. There is no leadership. There is no leadership on national level, on regional level, and not even on local level. There are, of course, exceptions. The question is, why don't we have leadership in Europe, for example? There is I
This
think
is a
a lack of
demonstration of
confidence.
Wirecast.
A lack of confidence because things are changing very rapidly as far as migration is concerned. If you open the newspaper in Europe right now, you'll see indeed all kinds of news of refugees coming in. The only person who has shown leadership, and mind you, whether you agree with her or not, is Angela Merkel, the Chancellor in Germany. She has indeed opened the doors because she said, I care. I care about these
is a
people.
demonstration
And
of
mind you, I
Wirecast.
need these people to make Germany a better place to live. The European Union, the European Commission, even national leaders of other countries have not done that. Mind you, whether you agree or not, she had put a moral compass. This is the choice I'm making, and I stand by my choice. And I think that is leadership. And these kind of leaders we do need on national level, but also on local level, to make change work.
This is a
ladies and
demonstration
gentlemen,
of Wirecast.
the great challenge which we have in Europe, for example, even in the Netherlands, is not to ask yourself what is impossible, or to act in the sense, this is impossible, I will not do it. You can make only the difference for many people, whether they are white or black, whether they are women, male or female. You can make the difference by asking yourself, how can I make change
This
possible
is a demonstration
which
of
are
Wirecast.
thought to be impossible? And I think by asking yourself that, you go towards the boundaries of what is possible to do so. And I think that's a great challenge we are trying to do. And you can only do that by building bridges. And I fully agreed what yesterday, really, Dominique de Villepin, the former Prime Minister of France, said. He said, it is wrong to think in military strategies.
This
It is
is a
good to think
demonstration of
in
Wirecast.
dialogues. And that is what we should do, ladies and gentlemen. Because in cities, even here, even in Europe, even in South America, people are moving. Societies are changing. We are now in the same boat, and we cannot afford to rock that boat, as Martin Luther King once said. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks a lot for that, Robin. I'm now going to hand it over to Ted Bellew.
This is a demonstration
Thanks very
of
much,
Wirecast.
Sanjay. And can I say right from the start, I feel very blessed to be here in Delhi this week. I'm sure all of you do too. What a remarkable place, what a remarkable event. But I also feel very blessed and honoured to be here as a citizen of Melbourne in Australia, often and regularly and recently voted the most livable city in the world, in the state of Victoria, which has a wonderful reputation
This is a
for being a place
demonstration of
where indeed
Wirecast.
anything is possible. And the key to that livability in our city and our state is undoubtedly, in my mind, our multicultural base and a bipartisan and long-standing commitment to that multiculturalism. Now, that multiculturalism is not hub and spoke, it's not patronising. It's actually cross-cultural. It's a tapestry. And that gives
This
it
is a
its strength,
demonstration of
and we seek to
Wirecast.
promote it at every opportunity. Last night, for those who were at the WCF, we had the pleasure of a balmy night and a soft, gentle wind, celebrating multiculturalism, celebrating diversity. Last night in Melbourne, the equivalent event was taking place, an annual event, one of the best events that we have in Melbourne, a multicultural gala which marks the start of Diversity Week, an annual
This
week
is a
in our
demonstration
city.
of Wirecast.
And as our Premier said, and as I said as Premier of Victoria, we don't tolerate diversity, we celebrate diversity. We actually take that extra step. Diversity is Melbourne's charm, it's Victoria's strength, it's everyone's opportunity. And Melbourne's message, I'm delighted to say, is the WCF message. It's the Art of Living message. Now we're here
This is a
in Delhi,
demonstration of
in the heart
Wirecast.
of India, where change is relentless. But I'm of the view that change, and a positive change in the future for India, is what I call Indian inevitable. It's going to happen. The agenda is there for all of us to see, but this panel seeks to invite us to talk about steady and adaptive, to contemplate
This
how
is a
you respond
demonstration
where
of
the
Wirecast.
change is sudden, where the circumstances are unpredictable. Now, no one knows better how to rise to the challenge of changing circumstances than multicultural communities, particularly those who've made courageous, often forced, but fundamentally ambitious and aspirational decisions to relocate. We pay tribute to them in Victoria, and I think we can
This
say
is a
that the
demonstration
AOL pays
of
tribute to
Wirecast.
all of those communities around the world who relocated. And we seek to enlist their strength, their courage, their aspiration for a greater good. Now, leadership today faces many struggles. There are many types of leadership, and I would focus on what I describe as survival leadership. We heard about it yesterday from Sri, the leadership you undertake when there's chaos, when there is fire, flood, famine, war. There are changing circumstances there, of course.
demonstration of
And then there's the
Wirecast.
leadership of advancement, where we seek to deal with the long-term vision and issues of communities. And sadly, we now have the leadership that we have to have, which is the leadership of foundations, where our fundamental foundations are being disrupted by those who are shamelessly disruptive, but shamelessly inconsistent and shamelessly provocative about it. And we've heard much about that in sessions today. Now, the way you respond in those circumstances varies. And my experience, a political experience, an architectural experience, is that variation is appropriate. Certainly in leadership for survival, you have to be there immediately. You have to respond immediately. And I'm sure there are US presidents who remember well just a 2-day delay in being there. It's an immediacy that you have to create. And you have to demolish the hurdles, whatever they are. Demolish the hurdles, and you have to get on and do it. And when there's leadership for advancement at stake, well, yes, you have to test your objectives, but then you have to test your tactics as well. And you have to make the personal commitments as well. And it's all about relationships. And those relationships have to be authentic, they have to be genuine, and they have to be sustained. And when it comes to the leadership you require for foundations, that's something else again. Leaders have to, in those circumstances, have absolute conviction about their own foundations. And sometimes for leaders, foundations don't get through.
Of Wirecast.
But we have to step up. You have to have personal courage and a willingness to lose it all because it's so important. But all of those circumstances, all of those approaches require certain qualities as well. We heard a little bit from Sri yesterday. The energy of youth, I talk about a lot, but it's not just the young, it's the energy of youthfulness.
This is a demonstration
and Sri
of
talked about it as well.
Wirecast.
You need that courage to respond in circumstances, and I agree with Sri yesterday. You need to have purpose, and it has to be right for the community. And you have to, in all these circumstances, be calm. And as many of you will know, politics does not abide silence. If politicians are silent, someone will fill the void. But when it comes to
This
change
is a
and
demonstration
commentary
of
and leadership,
Wirecast.
there is enormous power in the calm, and there's enormous power in the silence. Not every leader has to yell and scream. Not every leader has to respond to the daily media onslaught. It's do the right thing for the right purpose and do it in an
This
authentic
is a
and
demonstration
genuine
of
way.
Wirecast.
And that's the best way to respond.
Thank you so much, Ted. That certainly rang a lot of truths for everybody on what you mentioned about silence and the calmness. Can I get Tariq Fatah?
Good afternoon.
This is a
Namaskar,
demonstration of Wirecast.
साथियों, बहनों भाइयों. There is an elephant in the room, and for the last 3 days, I have seen leadership of major American corporations, politicians, from municipal politicians from Belgium and the Netherlands, and the distinguished speaker from Victoria, and the head of Forbes, and the former
This
Prime
is a
Minister of
demonstration
France,
of
and the former
Wirecast.
President of Nigeria, who just couldn't get to mention the elephant in the room. And as a student of history, it reminds me of Chamberlain, who sought to solve the challenge of the 30s with a piece of paper in his hand saying peace has been accomplished after he surrendered the moral authority of humanity to Hitler. What followed
This
was
is a
5
demonstration
years,
of Wirecast.
30 million just on the Eastern Front dying to crush fascism in its worst form that sought to rule the world in the name of Aryan supremacy and the Nazi Party. Today, the elephant in the room is not Mr. Hitler, nor it is Chairman Mao. It is radical Islam, and the responsibility of Muslims to fight this is not
This
even
is a
mentioned.
demonstration
This is the
of
third day, I
Wirecast.
suppose. I don't think anyone has mentioned this here. We talk of GDP, we talk of everything except what is the ultimate crisis in your Belgian cities, in the Dutch cities where my family lives, in places in Antwerp and Brussels where Muslims who are secular liberals who have accepted Western civilization for what they are rebuked in the name of liberalism and left-wing Sharia
This is a
Bolshevism.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Today, India faces a challenge on two sides. And you are the only country on earth, other than the United States, who have the ability, the wisdom, and the power to destroy Islamofascism, because there might be a tiny amount of courage left amongst Indians with West Europeans who have surrendered abysmally
This is a demonstration
after having
of
destroyed
Wirecast.
Greece and after having treated the Greeks as if they were the paupers and then made the Turks bring in millions of people into it. And let us not even go to white liberal guilt that is today silent in selling F-16s that are capable of delivering tactical nukes on the surface of India, and silent completely on what is happening in Chicago, while talking about
This is a
spirituality
demonstration of
and talking
Wirecast.
about peace and one family and brotherhood. Brothers and sisters, बहनों और भाइयों, आपको नाम याद होगा तैमूर का, Tamerlane? 7% of human population on earth was decimated. There were pyramids of human skulls are built on this land by my religious leaders who tossed a coin which
This is a
which
demonstration
non-Muslim
of
state to
Wirecast.
invade, China or India, who took inspiration from the same Sharia that Caliph Abu Bakr Baghdadi today, who talks of Ghazwa-e-Hind, which you do not know, sir. You think Jim Jones was a death cult? You ain't seen nothing yet. As you appease Hitler like Chamberlain, in the name of the left, As a card-carrying member of a communist party, I can tell you, you folks in the left in Europe have
This is a
betrayed,
demonstration of
have abandoned
Wirecast.
your cities. Malmo is empty. The Jews from France are running away. And you don't have the courage to say that there is a demon next door that is the first Islamic state created by amputating the limbs of Mother India. And in the cowardice you said, let's forget about it. At least our lungs and hearts are there. What if Bengal and Indus are gone?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Today, brothers and sisters, Europe has abandoned 400 years of Western civilization. If the leaders of today were in charge of Europe in 1939, Moshe Hitler and his fascists would be ruling with Hirohito right across the world. We cannot remain
This is a
silent.
demonstration of Wirecast.
As God is your witness, as a 5,000-year-old civilization that endured a 1,000-year genocide of your ancestry, your language, your mothers, your roads, your sisters, your forts, where you were asked to provide 50,000 Hindus a day to satisfy a Central Asian invader who came to conquer India in the name of Allah, who killed people,
This
who
is a
killed the Sikh
demonstration
gurus
of Wirecast.
in this city. And we talk of spirituality. Let's talk of hypocrisy. You want leadership and business? I am in the business of staying alive. I've done 45 years of American and British-sponsored Islamic extremism that amputated the wings of India. And I will never, ever, ever forget that as long as European
demonstration
and
of
Western
Wirecast.
politicians don't come here to apologize. And for goodness sake, don't give me this left-right nonsense. Leave it for Arnab Goswami and the minions who do that. I am an Indian born in Pakistan. My ancestry is Hindu. My culture is Sikh.
Is a demonstration
My
of
religion is from the
Wirecast.
Jews. And it is only in India that a Muslim can speak the truth, sir. And ask your mayor of The Hague, as a Muslim, how he has to stand up to the death threats he faces. And all of Europe and all of Australia and all of Obama's America is bringing hijabis and niqabis as circus animals, as if multiculturalism was about a circus where we would dance and you would observe. No, sir, no. We are not circus animals. We are free men and women, and we will not tolerate the American-sponsored destruction of human civilization at the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood. Thank you very much.
So, Tarek,
This is a
you got your
demonstration of
response from the
Wirecast.
audience. You go to his profile, you'll see how much of a free speaker he is, which he has demonstrated over here. I'll take it across to Gary.
Thank you. I think it's a tough act to follow now. Thank you, Sanjeev. Excited to be here at the Global Leadership Forum. The topic today, study and adaptive, I would say has been a foundational principle for me growing up as a kid.
This is
And
a
having
demonstration
built
of
and
Wirecast.
exited 3 companies, again, bootstrapped, and the term adaptation becomes very meaningful to you when you're not taking any outside money and building these companies. The key mantra for me is Darwin's theory, which is adapt, evolve, and thrive. And that's applicable to anything you do in life, whether you're building a business or you're helping the society or personal life as well. But as you're adapting in the business or society,
This is a
ethics
demonstration of
takes
Wirecast.
absolutely the forefront in everything you do and needs to be weaved into your DNA. I guess it was weaved in my DNA very early on. I was in the 4th grade, and I'll share a story with you. And I have to thank my dad for getting me on the right path. I have an older brother, so he gave us two piggy banks made out of porcelain. And I believe I was in the 4th grade. A month later, I find out that my brother's money bank is heavier than mine.
This is a
I said,
demonstration of
elder brother, dad is
Wirecast.
giving me more money. I said, that's not fair. So I broke the 2 banks, redistributed the money, and I said I did something fine. Now, a month later, his money bank is heavier again. I said, Dad is not being fair. So I did that probably 3 or 4 times. Finally, I got caught. And Dad absolutely was upset for the right reason. He took me down to the streets with people watching, grabbed a tennis racket, and beat the hell out of me. I didn't cry. He said, why are you
This is a
not crying? He said, are you
demonstration of
done?
Wirecast.
I said, are you done beating me? He said, yeah. I said, let me grow up, I'll see you then. I got another smack. And that, that truly kind of taught me a lesson very early on. There are a bunch of stories, but I know I'm going to run out of time out here. So let me share with you a story of my 3rd venture. Sanjeev was saying about 3 companies. The latest one was Cognalytics, which was in the space of big data, advanced analytics, cybersecurity, which is a big area. If you talk to the governments or the CXOs, the cyber attacks is a big issue. As we were growing that company rapidly, it was clear to me that we have to adapt. And I merged that company with CenturyLink in December of 2014. And the reason was they had the assets which were critical for us to be able to deliver more value for the customers. It's a Fortune 150 company, 20% of the global internet traffic going through our network, 43% of the New York traffic, $2 trillion of Forex going through our systems on a daily basis. And what we can do with that data is build these algorithms to really help with the cyber terrorism, which is becoming even more I would say adverse with the IoT, 50 billion connected things by year 2020. You're looking at a lot of open areas for attack, and if you don't secure them, you're looking at a wild, wild west. And I was at the World Economic Forum earlier this year, and the big topic was robotics and AI. And believe it or not, every single enterprise will need to adapt, because with the robotics, you're going to create a very serious socio-economic impact. There will be jobs which will be lost. So there's a lot of deeper thinking which has to go towards how do you adapt to these changing environments. Now, there are 6 key elements which I talk to the emerging entrepreneurs, to the government head of states, and to the corporate citizens, which are absolutely critical with the topic of study and adaptive. As you're building a business, or you're doing something for the society, or you're doing something in the government, you got to dream. You got to dream big. If you cannot dream big, don't think about starting a business. And once you're zeroed in about the business idea you want to go after, do the appropriate market research and start building a powerful team. Because as an individual, you have your strengths, and you need to be truthful to yourself. Okay, how do I strengthen myself by putting together a powerful founding team? People who share your vision, who have the right chemistry, and don't have ego. Ego has no place in life, and you got to keep it in your back pocket and not bring it up. And this is where, I talk about a term called structured chaos. And Shri Ji were talking about chaos and the leadership, and that becomes a very important element as you are building a business. Then it boils down to the culture, and this is where, as a leader, you got to weave the values and build the right culture. So it's not an 8 to 5 job. It is your company, and you're part of the family. And instincts become very critical. 9 out of 10 times, in my case, if I don't follow my gut, I would lose out there. And then work-life balance becomes critical, and again, going back to the Darwin's theory, that's a very important element, no matter what you do in your life. So in
This
closing,
is a demonstration of
I would
Wirecast.
say steady and adaptive with a can-do attitude and a firm belief in yourself and understanding the human psychology. There's nothing you can't do. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Can I have Bridget?
This is a demonstration of
Thank
Wirecast.
you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. When I was asked to speak here, they asked me a statement. And my statement for this session is that the greatest distance is not from New York to New Delhi, but from our head to our heart.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We need to bridge that distance. We need to see with the eyes of our heart in order to act from the wisdom within, our inner sense. That is what I founded 22 years ago, this company, as a movement to go over the world, because I think we need this inner sense. We are focused on the wrong spot.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We think that we are a body, but we are formless presence. We are energy. We are empty space. And for the Art of Living Foundation, we have these breathing practices. We have our breath. And I cannot say, I don't want your breath. And you cannot say to your neighbor, I don't want your breath. Whether you are a friend
This
or a
is
stranger,
demonstration of
the more and the
Wirecast.
longer we are staying in this room, our breathing is merging to one breathing field. So our head tells us we are separated. But the fact is that we are one breathing ocean. And as we are, for 70% water, and water is the most flexible, most adaptable material.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
We have to learn to act like water, to be adaptable, but also to be dead silent when there is no wind. We have created a permanent storm in our heads, but we are part of nature. And sometimes there's wind, like yesterday evening, a lot of wind, but most of the time it's silent, it's quiet. But we have created in our business world as leaders
This is a demonstration
a permanent
of
storm.
Wirecast.
And we can cool this down, calm this down to our breathing, to being silent. It's strange, you know. I have only 5 minutes. But for the half of it, we are silent field. And when we are silent, we activate 2 other sensible brains. We are most focused on our head brain. That's just one part, small part of our whole body.
This is a demonstration of
But we have
Wirecast.
2 other sensitive brains, the tandem and our heart. And as leaders, we need to look at the heart of the matter. And our heart and our tandem, our stomach, our intuition, is more sensitive and speaks to us in a wordless language. And we lost that language
This is a
because we
demonstration
want to
of
be based
Wirecast.
on facts. As leaders, we have to make decisions based on facts. But these first signals in silence, when we are in silence together, we know that whether what I am saying, you know if it makes sense or not. If this field is harmonious, we feel that in silence.
This is a
And
demonstration
for
of
leaders,
Wirecast.
I think it's most essential that we experience this silence. That we are one, not only silence, but that we experience that we are part of a whole. That we are a maze in a visor net. We are a whole in itself. Like a cell, a whole is in itself in an organ. An organ is a whole in itself, is a holon. And we are a whole in
This
itself.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
As a whole in itself, it has no meaning. It has only a meaning when it opens up in a larger field. We are a maze in a fisher net, and our meaning is to open up. We have to have the courage to open up our hearts, because in our hearts we feel that my pain is your pain. Your pain is my pain. Your joy is my joy. And
This is a
therefore I
demonstration
wrote
of
this book,
Wirecast.
Heart for the Earth is Heart for Yourself. From different perspectives, from a Sufi perspective, from a Christian perspective, from a Zen perspective. And like our facilitator said, it is important to bridge it in your heart. Thank you.
Thanks, Bridget. Listening to you, the voice itself is so calming.
This is a demonstration of
Bringing me to silence.
Wirecast.
I was just sitting and wondering, here I had the fire of Tariq, and here is the silence coming. Yeah. Can I take it to Captain Sindhu?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, my friend, colleagues on the dais, and learn it, Miss Bridget, I call it. We have heard various experiences
This is a demonstration of
people coming
Wirecast.
from different parts of the world, how they manage, how they give leadership to various cities, and heard a very strong view from Mr. Tariq Fatah. He was telling me that Tariq comes from a Sanskrit word, Tarak, Rakshak. And I take the lead forward from Miss Bridget. I also believe that leadership is a very, very vast subject. We cannot summarize it in 4 or 5 minutes.
This is a
Various
demonstration of
qualities, characteristics
Wirecast.
of leaders, various types of leaders. In army, we call it from a section leader to army commander to chief, a langar commander, a person who arranges food for you. So as a leader, one person has to have the conviction of purpose in his mind and in heart, as stated by Ms. Bridget. The mind and heart, if the leader is taking along, then he will be able to handle
This is a
all
demonstration of
situations
Wirecast.
presented in various forms to the leader. In every situation in my course of life, I have seen that you face various situations, various people in front of you, but you don't know whether that person, that situation, as you are viewing it, is a final fact. So person has to have a awakened mind, a purposeful heart, and in that case,
This
he
is a
has to have a
demonstration
stoic
of
silence,
Wirecast.
which we have to understand. What is stoic silence is that indifferent mind to dualities. I'm neither this way, neither that way, neither I'm for profit, neither I'm for loss. I have to have an indifferent mind, a stoic mind, where I am indifferent to dualities. My focus is only on my objective, my purpose of life, of the project I am carrying on, the
This
project
is a
I have to complete.
demonstration of Wirecast.
So that stoic silence in mind gives time for a person to analyze, realize, and take the team forward to the target in a very purposeful manner. For that, to achieve that, one has to have, in ethics, we call it nowadays, we call it 10 steps of dharma. And in 10 steps of dharma, dhriti, dharya comes first. Next is dhriti, kshama, Dama
This is a
Asteyam Socham
demonstration of
Indriya Nigraha
Wirecast.
Dhi Vidya Satyam Akrodho. So these are the 10 ethical values which a leader has to adopt in himself or herself to take the team forward, to achieve the purpose of the team, whether it is a organizational team, whether it is an army, whether it is a business team, wherever the leader is present, he has to take his team forward. Today, we are focusing, basically, I am focusing on the
This is a
subject,
demonstration
to the
of
core of the
Wirecast.
subject, deep dive, steady and adaptive. The deep dive. What do you mean by deep dive? That we have to understand the basics of our purpose of the leadership, why I am leader of this organization, of this team, of this nation, of this city. What is the objective of the city is happiness of all. If that is the aim, then you will think differently.
This is a
In
demonstration
Indian
of
culture, we call
Wirecast.
steady means what? Steady means sthit prajna. A person who has patience, awakened mind, stoic silence. And in Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that you become sthit prajna. You have to have indifference to the dualities, that I am going to kill my friends, I am going to kill my relations. No, your purpose of this war is that you have to make the good win.
This is
The
a
evil has to
demonstration of
be defeated.
Wirecast.
So in that, one has to have an indifferent mind, that we call it a stoic silence or a sthit prajna. So that we mean by steadiness in the business. Adaptive, this is an ability to overcome the immediate hurdles without losing the sense of direction for our objectives. It may be achieved by removing hurdles, by passing the hurdles, or utilizing the hurdles to own advantage, convert them to advantage.
This is a
The
demonstration
solutions
of
to all such
Wirecast.
situations will depend on type of situation, timing of situation, and gravity of situation to hamper our approach to our target. Here I give you example of being adaptive. As stated by Ms. Bridget, in nature is very adaptive. And the most best element of nature which attracts my mind and which has guided my mind throughout journey of my life and business is the water. If you see the behavior
This
of water,
is a demonstration of
yes,
Wirecast.
if you see the behavior of water, it takes the shape of whether it is in bottle or in glass or in anything else. It takes, yeah, vodka? Okay, fine. So, if there is a hurdle in water, the water keeps rising its level till it crosses the hurdle and it overflows the hurdle. If it finds the obstacle is too weak, water will seep into the hurdle
This is a
and make the hurdle
demonstration
go
of
away.
Wirecast.
If water is faced with a very low temperature, it freezes in the lakes, in the European cities. But you will agree with me, sir, that below some surface ice, there is a water at 4-degree temperature. So that is the adaptability. Element of nature is teaching us the adaptability. If it is very hot area, it will evaporate, go to clouds, and rain again,
This is
come
a
back to
demonstration of
its own
Wirecast.
target area is lakes and the seas and oceans. So water keeps moving towards its target steadily in an adaptive manner. Whichever obstacle it faces, it overcomes that obstacle and tries to reach its target of lakes and seas and oceans. So that has guided me in my business, that whatever obstacles I face, I have to behave like water. I have to overcome them, use them to my advantage,
This is a
or bypass
demonstration
them.
of Wirecast.
And we adopted, our Indian Army adopted water flow tactics in Bangladesh war. We knew that more than around 2 lakh people, 200,000 Pakistani army is in Bangladesh, and target given to us was that maximum 12 days you have to reach Dhaka, you have to capture Dhaka, otherwise there will be some intervention from international side. 7th Fleet is approaching. We adopted the water flow tactics. We left the resistance where it was. We just bypassed the
This is a
resistance, reached
demonstration
Dhaka, and
of
declared our target
Wirecast.
is achieved. So I have followed this. It may help you. Thank you very much. I say, now the slogan is, not the slow and steady wins the race. Steady and adaptive will win the race. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain. I think your analogy of the water is so apt and it applies to all our lives. It's steady, and how do you combine the adaptability of water in life that really takes it forward. I know we are desperately against time, but I can't
This
leave this
is a demonstration
fascinating
of Wirecast.
panels without a little bit of a question, and then I'm going to throw it open for one or two questions. Do we have time? We do. Just a minute. So, Jean and Ted mentioned some very powerful statements. You mentioned, make yourself vulnerable to all. And Ted also mentioned willingness to lose it all. Can I just understand, what does it take for you to reach that space?
I think
This is a
it's very
demonstration of
important
Wirecast.
because my experience goes 15 years ago when I started as a mayor. Before I was director in education, and I've also built rest houses for older people. And I think my experience also as head of police in my city has bring to me the idea that we live in a too nervous
This
way
is
of
a
life.
demonstration of
A
Wirecast.
too nervous way of life that gives us not the opportunities to build up an equal life. Because of that, I think that a task of us must be, of a task as a mayor must be, to bring majorities and minorities together to try them to live in friendship,
This
not
is a
only in
demonstration
friendship,
of
but
Wirecast.
also as a peaceful community. And because of that, I think it's very important what Mr. Fatah has said to us. I have the experience, and that's not the pleasant side of my job. I have the experience in my city with terrorism and radicalism. And I've learned very, very much out of this situation.
This
The
is a
biggest problem, I
demonstration of
think, is
Wirecast.
for people to find their identity. The identity of young people is lost. For many young people, they don't know who they are. And that's the big problem today. I've spoken with many, many young people, Muslim young people. They don't have an identity because they are not Turkish, they are not Moroccan people, they are not Belgian people. They say to me, we are nothing. And then the big goal for me is to try that young people, to try to give them a new identity, an identity in a slow way. A slow way. I don't know if you know Sita Slow. Sita Slow is an international movement of cities who want to live on a slower way. Because the hurry of today get lost our identity. And to live in a slower way, that's very important. And that slower way, I try to give also as a message to the imam of our mosques. And I'm gonna say it. Much of the imams in our culture must come to here, to Guruji Sri Lanka, to learn from them, from him, what's the deep drive in the life. And I hope they do it, because it's necessary.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, we're running desperately against time. I have to cut short even what we want. There's just no time, we're running way, way ahead. you can interact over lunch or something and catch up with them.
This
Unfortunate,
is a
but that's
demonstration
how
of
the day has
Wirecast.
panned out. Thank you so much for this, for all of you to spend time with us, sharing your experiences. And I'm sure the message of silence, which has so strongly come through, will be taken by each one, because that is, I think, is at the root. Not like Tariq said, silence of not responding, which I completely agree, but silence in staying calm is at the core of everything. Thank you so much.
This is a demonstration
Clap
of
loud.
Wirecast.
It's perfectly allowed.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast. This is a demonstration of Wirecast. This is a demonstration of Wirecast. This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Okay, this is the last call. If people want to come and please. Just counting 1, 2, 3, and we take a picture. Oh yes, yes, the Canadian. Yeah. Okay.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.